In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 mistakes that'll stop you from getting funded, especially if you have a brand new LLC. Let's begin. All right, family. The first mistake that'll stop you from getting access to capital, especially if you have a brand new LLC, is having a weak and or unstructured personal credit. It just is personal credit. It's supposed to say personal credit report. Okay. Why is that? I say this more times than I can count. Your personal credit report is your financial resume. That sets the foundation for everything else. If you can't manage on the personal side, banks don't want to work with you on the business side. So we need to make sure that is taken care of. If your credit isn't in good standing, I typically have 2 laws that I normally recommend most people use. So for example, let's say you have some collections or charge-offs on your credit report and they're inaccurate. You can use these 2 laws right here, right? So 15 USC 1681AB and 15 USC 1681 I5A, right? So I'll highlight those here in not green, but yellow so that you guys can see it. Let's say you have an inaccurate item on your credit report. So let's say you have a collection and the information for that collection is not showing the same across all 3 credit reporting agencies. You can use laws like this to create dispute letters with a platform like a Claude or a ChatGPT, right? One of those AI platforms to go ahead and create you a custom dispute letter to send out. Or even better, let's say you've already been disputing and the credit reporting agencies, which is very common for most people, they come back and they say this account was marked as accurate, right? The next thing that you could do is try using something called method of verification, right? Which is 15 USC 1681 IA7, right? Method of verification law, for those who don't know, it's pretty much a law that states that whenever you dispute an item and the credit reporting agency say it's accurate, they have to provide you proof, written proof of the investigation they took within 15 days of your request. Otherwise, it has to be removed. These 3 laws are pretty much like the staple for any disputing that I do or that I advise other people to do. And I would recommend for you guys to look into as well. So make sure that you go ahead and prioritize these in your dispute process. Now, if your credit is clean, but it's just your file is just thin, then from there, I would recommend on your end following this simple, I call this the golden credit report framework, right? So with the golden credit report framework, it's pretty much 100% on-time payment history. You want to have 3 to 5 cards on your credit report with 5K plus limits, less than 10% utilization, no more than 2 to 3 inquiries on your report, and at least 2+ years of average age. On average, if you have these boxes checked off, it's very difficult for you, plus some of the other stuff we're going to talk about, to not get access to capital. So very important. Now, after that, the next mistake most people make is not having a properly structured business. So, most people think that once they have the LLC and they're in good standing, but in actuality, LLC does not equal business. LLC equals LLC. Business equals LLC plus EIN plus operating agreement plus a business address, a business phone number, a business email, and a business website. But most importantly, making sure the information of your business is consistent across the board. That's important too, because a lot of times I'll run into business owners and your EIN letter has one address, your operating agreement has another address, and then the business address you actually register for the business has an entirely different address. You need to make sure any pieces of information of your business are symmetrical across the board for wherever it is that they're reporting to. So very, very important. Because once again, these are all the little details that you may not be prioritizing, but trust and believe me, from the relationship manager that I've spoken to, they definitely are. So you want to make sure that's congruent across the board. Now, the third mistake that most people may be making, or you may be making, is applying online instead of applying in branch. So can you get approved for business credit if you apply online? Yes. Can you get approved for more business credit if you apply in branch instead of applying online? 10 times yes. Okay. The reason why is because it is a different approach when I send a business credit application through my laptop versus when I sit down with a relationship manager that's communicating with these underwriters and pushing applications to them literally every single day. Relationships matter when it comes to banking and business credit. And if you don't know that by now, if you watching me, I would hope by this video, whatever number video of mine that you've watched, that this one will be the one to kind of send you over the top. Now, applying in branch, what it'll allow for you to do is not only increase how much capital you get access to, but it also increases how fast you're able to get here back. So most often what people will see is when you apply online, they usually either approve or deny you right then and there, or more than likely what happens is they say like, hey, we'll get back to you within like 5 to 7 business days. Very rarely have I ever applied for business credit in person and not gotten a decision right then and there. And the decision I got usually was much higher than how much business credit I was able to get access to when I was applying online. So these are all the different things that you need to make sure that you're thinking about. The fourth mistake is not having a funding sequence. So what is a funding sequence? For those who don't know, a funding sequence is when you create a strategic list of banks that pull from different credit reporting agencies. So you can apply to all banks simultaneously in a tight window without having to worry about your credit report getting littered with a bunch of inquiries. So the reason why this is important is, let's say you have 3 banks you want to go to. If all 3 pull from the same credit reporting agencies, you now hurt your credit report with that one agency for any other lenders you may want to work with in the near future. But if you have 3 banks and they all pull from different credit reporting agencies, well, now you've saved your credit report. You still got the same end result you wanted, and probably even more, because neither of them know that you applied for funding with the others. Why? Because they all are looking at 3 completely different credit reports. If you don't know how to create a funding sequence, or you've never had one, a simple go-to that I normally give to my students that I've used on countless occasions that you could use, you can go to Chase. Chase is always a great one. They typically pull Experian or TransUnion, depending on what city or state you live in, which is a gem. Never forget that not all hard pulls from a bank are created equal. So there are certain parts of the country where a certain lender will pull from one credit reporting agency, while other regions of the country where that same lender will pull from maybe 2 out of the 3 credit reporting agencies, or sometimes even all 3. So be mindful of that, which is why I say Chase can sometimes pull Experian or TransUnion, or sometimes it could pull both depending on where you live. The next lender I would recommend is Ameris Bank. So Ameris does a hard pull on TransUnion. Ameris Bank does a hard pull on TransUnion and is one of my kind of go-to banks. They're Elon Financial powered, very simple. They typically give fast approvals right then and there. And then the third lender is going to be Truist Bank. So what's great about Truist is that they pull Equifax, but also it's not showing here on the screen, but I'll say it now. Truist also allows for you to do what's called double dipping. So for those who don't know, double dipping is pretty much when you can apply for the same business credit product more than once, but only get one inquiry. So in the funding sequence terms of things, we can actually end up getting 1 business credit card from Chase, 1 from Ameris, and 2 from Truist, all by only getting 1 inquiry on each of our reports. And once again, if you have the ability to go and apply in branch with each of these lenders, depending on what city or state you live in, do it, because it'll increase the likelihood that you get approved right then and there for the amount of capital that you're looking for. And the 5th and final mistake, which is super important, is just skipping bank relationships, right? So a lot of you guys will consume a lot of content online and just go straight to going to a lender and saying like, hey, give me money. But you never took time to open any accounts with them on the personal side or on the business side, which, if you don't know, actually increases the amount of money you get. So the name of the game when it comes to really increasing how much money you get when you're working with these banks and lenders is really patience and relationships. If you have the patience to establish relationships over a set period of time, and a lot of times it doesn't even have to be a long time frame. Really, I would say anywhere between like 3 to 6+ months, that could be the difference between a 5K approval and a 50K approval. I still see that till this day, not only from myself, but also for a lot of the students that I work with as well. So I would say before you go and start applying for business credit, please take time to open these accounts. And if you don't have a lot of money to put in, let's say you only have $500, spread those deposits out of that $500 over the course of the next 3 to 6 months. Put in $25 to $50 every single month to just start building that relationship and increasing your internal bank rating score with that lender that you're working with. Right. And as a quick gem, let's say your business is already active and you're generating cash flow. Even if your business is only doing $500 a month, right? Or even less than that, you need a merchant account as a business owner, right? You can set up your merchant provider to where it's directly connected to this account that you just formed with the lender, and those sales that are coming in every single month get deposited to that account. So you don't even have to think about doing the deposits. And it actually works better because if you're making money, I would hope, every single day in your business, or even if you're not, if you're making money on some type of a consistent basis, those deposits are now getting dropped directly into your account. It's slowly but surely increasing your bank rating score. And in turn, now it makes it that much easier when it comes time for you to circle back and get access to capital from that lender. But family, that concludes this video. If you haven't already and you're interested in learning more about how you can get access to business funding, I actually host a free masterclass where I teach you how to restore your credit, how to structure your business, and how to create funding sequences. The link for that class is going to be in the description below if you want to secure your seat to the next and upcoming class. And also, if you are in need of getting your credit restored so that you can have a personal credit report that's in position to be leveraged to get access to funding, head over to takeoffinancial.com. That is takeoffinancial.com. The link for that website is going to be in the description below as well. But as always, family, appreciate each and every single one of you for watching this video. And until next time, peace.